Today, I am going to share an intimate moment from my past, and that is my childhood trauma. You are going to be able to see how one event in a child's life can follow them around like a shadow for decades. Not only did my trauma grow with me to adulthood, but it was influencing my entire life and I was totally unaware of it. I know there are a lot of people out there like me who've been impacted by past trauma and are unaware or unconsciously unaware of how it's impacting their lives. I'm hoping that my vulnerability will help change that. My name is Nathan Cook, and I'm here to help you live a conscious life. I'm going to break this down into 3 parts. First, I'm going to go over my childhood trauma. Secondly, I'm going to share with you how I was able to uncover this deep-rooted shadow. And lastly, which is the most important part, I'm going to go over how this event was influencing my life. And I believe this is going to be the aha moment for those of you who have experienced any type of trauma. And I say this because we often don't understand the underlying reasons for our behaviors. But once I get to this section, you're going to be able to see how trauma can go unnoticed regardless of how well you may know yourself. To my family and friends, you are now going to know why I've made some of the questionable decisions I have in the past. And it stems from this one event when I was 10 years old, living with my mom, her boyfriend, and my younger sister. And we lived in a 2-story house. I lived downstairs and everybody else lived upstairs. And one night while I was asleep, my mom busts into my room. She says, "Nathan," and turns on the light. And the reason why I knew that she busted in the room was because my door, whenever you opened it or closed it, it would make a sound. And based on how loud the sound was, I knew that my mom opened the door quickly. So I popped up and I'm confused. Like, it's hard for me to see, the lights all in my eyes, and after a couple of seconds, I was able to see my mom at the entry of the door. And then I was able to see my mom's boyfriend standing right behind her. And my mom says, "I need to talk to Nathan." And I'm confused. I'm like, what did I do now? I'm thinking I'm in trouble because you had to wake me up out of my sleep to talk to me. And then my mom's boyfriend says,
"Leave Nathan out of this."
So I'm like so confused at this moment. And then I see my mom's boyfriend start pulling her away from the entry of my door. And this is when I started to get worried because I've never seen him put his hands on my mom ever. So as he's pulling my mom away, I'm sitting in my bed watching this happen. And to get to my room, it's a hallway. So once he pulls her away and then they turn a corner and I can no longer see my mom, I started getting extremely fearful. So I was kind of shocked, but I was like, I need to see if my mom's okay. So I get out of my bed after about 15 seconds and I walk out to the family room. And I'm thinking they're in the family room, but they're not. Somehow he was able to get my mom up the steps. And as soon as I get into the family room, I hear all this boom, boom, psh, 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 all this noise. And it sounds like bodies are rolling on the ground. It sounded like somebody was getting beat up. And I'm thinking that I am listening to my mom being killed right now. Because my mom is shorter than me. She's like 5'4", and this dude is like 6 foot something. And this was my introduction to fight or flight. It was this one part of me that wanted to run up those stairs and help my mom. But I knew that I wasn't going to be able to protect her from this dude that's 6 foot something, and I was already afraid of him. And then there was this other side of me that wanted to run. So in the family room, there was the door to go outside to the backyard. And while I'm hearing these noises and thinking in my head that that was the last time I was ever going to see my mom alive. And I just got overwhelmed with fear, and I decided to go flight. So I opened the back door, I run in the backyard. And my plan was I was going to go to my neighbor's house. I was going to jump their fence, go to my neighbor's house, knock on their door, and ask them for help. But when I ran over to their yard, their dog Bucky was outside, and he was barking and growling at me. So I couldn't do that. So the only other thing I could think of was to go to the back of our yard. And we had a lot of trees in our backyard. We had an acre of land. So I really couldn't run as fast as I wanted to because it was pitch dark outside once I got further away from the house. So once I got to the end of our yard, I climbed our 6-foot chain fence. I climbed it and I jumped down. And our backyard went to woods and a creek. There were no homes behind our backyard. It was nothing but woods. So there I am in the woods. The only thing that I can hear are bugs and the creek. And I'm there, extremely still. And the reason why I'm still is because I'm worried that I'm going to get attacked by possums, raccoons, snakes, foxes, and the boogeyman. And the first thing that I thought of was that I could climb a tree. I could climb a tree, and this way I could be safe. Because I know that after my mom's boyfriend kills her and kills my little sister, he's going to come look for me. But then I was thinking that if I climb a tree, a raccoon could climb up there and bite me and give me rabies. And mind you, I am 10 years old, in the woods, in pitch dark, with my pajamas on and no shoes. So after I decided not to climb a tree, I was like, okay, I could go down to my friend's house, Nori and Tarek. They live down the street. And I knew that the only way for me to get to their house was that I was going to have to follow the creek, because the creek went behind their house like it did ours. So what I decided to do was I decided to go to the creek, and the creek was about 40 to 50 feet from where I was. So even though it was pitch dark, I knew which direction I had to go to the creek. So I walk over to the creek, and then once my feet are wet, I know that I'm on track. So I knew that the only thing I needed to do was follow the stream down, go downstream with the creek. As long as I do this, I'll be able to get to their house. And I really wanted to run because I'm worried of, again, animals and my mom's boyfriend coming to get me next, because he's going to know I'm not in my room anymore. So I start trotting in the creek as quickly as I can, and I'm stumbling. And whenever I hear something in the woods, I'm freaking out because I'm thinking it's an animal or my mom's boyfriend coming to get me. And then as I'm going down the creek, I finally get to their house. But I don't run up immediately to their house because I'm thinking in my mind that my mom's boyfriend knows that the only place that I would go in this situation is to their house. So I'm in the, I guess I would call it the trenches. So I'm in the creek. So it's the creek on the ground, and then it's the land. So I'm down looking at my friend's house, and all of their lights are off because it's late at night. I want to hurry up and run up there because I'm fearful. I don't know if he's coming from the woods to come get me. I don't know if an animal's going to come get me. And I don't know if he's waiting for me to pop out the woods to come get me and kill me. So I'm there hanging out for like 2 or 3 minutes, getting freaked out, scared. And I just remember wanting to see someone, like to be with someone in that situation. So while I'm down in the crevice looking at their house, seeing if he may be around the corner, I was like, okay, I'm going to run for it. And the good thing about it was they didn't have a fence in their backyard. So if I came out the crevice and start running towards their front yard to knock on the door, if I saw him, I could at least run back into the woods, and it's so dark he wasn't going to be able to find me as long as he didn't have a flashlight. So I come up and I haul ass through their backyard and I knock on the door, like banging on the door. My mom needs help. My mom needs help. And their mom opens the door, and there I am in my pajamas, wet. And I would have to say that 30 minutes of pure fear rewired my entire neural pathways in my brain. It changed the way I saw the world. It changed the way I thought. It changed the entire trajectory of my life. This story is about my trauma, so I'm not going to elaborate on what happened to my mom, but my mom and little sister are okay. Right after that event, I was shook mentally for months. But as time passed, and as the years passed, I thought about it less and less. And by the time I was an adult, I totally forgot about it. I never thought about it. I rarely thought about it. Very rare. I mean, years would go past if I was to think about it. Now, I'm going to go over how I realized this event was subtly changing my entire life. And to my surprise, even though I wasn't thinking about it consciously on my radar, it thrived in my subconscious, which is responsible for 95% of our actions. Then I'll get to the most crucial topic, the unconscious impact this trauma has had on my life. This is going to be essential for anyone affected by trauma, as it's going to shed light on how trauma may be influencing your life unconsciously. So earlier this year, I tried Mother Ayahuasca for the first time, and I'm not promoting or condoning the use of any type of plant medicine. I will be sharing my full account with the medicine in my next video, which absolutely changed my life as much as my near-death experience. And this, what I'm talking to you about today, is not my near-death experience. But moving forward, while I was at the retreat under the medicine, it took me to the exact scene where I was at the back door, deciding if I was going to go upstairs and help my mom or run. And I was so confused why the medicine took me to this place because, number one, it was showing me something that had nothing to do with who I am now. And number two, I didn't want to relive what I already went through. But prior to taking the medicine, I was told it's going to provide me with what I needed and not what I wanted. So I'm at the back door. But what's different this time is that I'm in the mind of my 10-year-old self. It was as if I was in the passenger seat observing everything that was going on. I could hear and see everything he could hear and see. It was as real as this moment is right here. I could observe his thoughts, feel his fears, his hesitations, his shame. I could feel his natural instinct wanting to survive. And as soon as he ran out the back door, I was instantly shown memories of my life from the age of 10 up until the present moment. And the memories were flashing before my eyes like super duper fast, like brrrr. And I was seeing all these memories. And the best way for me to describe it is that it looked like the intro to a Marvel movie when the comic book is flipping the pages really quickly. And even though I was seeing all these scenes flip quickly, I was able to see each one as if it was passing by slowly. It was as if the medicine was allowing me to process data much quicker. And what it showed me changed me. I'm going to share several scenes with you, and you're going to start to see a common theme. And this is how I learned how my trauma has been influencing my life for the last 29 years. So one scene it showed me that I totally forgot about was when I got caught stealing at the White House. And yes, this actually happened. So I was on an honor roll field trip in the 8th grade, and I was at the gift shop at the White House, and I saw something that I wanted, and I put it in my book bag. And as soon as I left out the gift shop, this man walks up behind me and says,
"Walk with me, son."
and I'm like, thinking in my head, somebody's trying to kidnap me because I don't know this dude. I didn't think anything about loss and prevention. I've never been caught stealing before, so in my mind, I was a trained professional. So as soon as this dude says, "Walk with me, son," I get scared thinking I'm about to get kidnapped. So I start hauling ass in the White House. And I only make it like 6 or 7 steps because he catches me by my book bag. But I end up being suspended from school for 2 weeks. So yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I got caught stealing from the White House. So that's pretty cool. And then this other event, it showed me when later on in life where I got arrested for breaking and entering, loitering, trespassing, and vandalism. And I was breaking into a school, and while we were in the school, we started hearing the cops. We started hearing the sirens. So we get out the school, and we're running around the school, and we turned a corner, and there are 2 cops with their guns drawn. And I'm still shocked to this day that they didn't accidentally pull the trigger because we were all spooked. So 3 of my friends, they put up their hands and stopped. Me, phew, I haul ass the other way. But obviously I end up still getting caught and getting arrested. And this other scene I want to share with you is that I used to have this Cadillac STS, and I wasn't able to keep up with the payments like within 2 years. So I had to sell the Cadillac, and my mom gave me her old Saturn station wagon. And what I ended up doing was I ended up moving from Maryland to Georgia because I didn't want to be judged. Like, I didn't want to be judged because I wasn't able to keep up with my payments, and I knew it was going to make me feel uncomfortable. So I ran to Georgia, and I lived there for 2 years. And I'm going to share one other example with you, but you're starting to understand the type of scenes the medicine was showing me. So the medicine showed me every single relationship that I ended, every girlfriend and every wife from elementary school to the age of 39. I've been divorced twice. I've been engaged 3 times. I have never been broken up with in my entire life because anytime things got tough and rough in a relationship or tense, I always ran. And while I'm giving you just a few examples of what the medicine showed me, it showed me hundreds of past decisions in my life of me running away from people and situations whenever I felt uncomfortable or when my emotions were challenged. Now here's the thing. I never thought once in my life that I felt as if I was running from anyone or anything. I just had the belief that I was the type of person that didn't deal with any BS, but that was a facade, a disguise for the inner child in me to keep me safe by doing the only thing it knew what to do, and that was to run. Are you following me here? If not, subscribe to the channel. Since this revelation, I'm aware when my inner child is trying to get me to run, but now I'm able to stop that natural impulse, that instinct, and say, no, we're going to stick and stay. And little Nate will fight with me sometimes. He's like,
Come on, we need to go. We need to get the hell up out of here.
and I have to reassure him that everything is going to be okay. You have heard me say many times on this channel before that the first step to change is awareness. And I learned that from this exact situation. Just being aware of why I act the way I act has changed the entire experience of me because I'm no longer running away from people and situations, and I'm able to experience a different reality. We are literally one decision away from a completely different life. Now, to the next thing I want to talk about is, do I feel as if the medicine helped me overcome my trauma? And I would say no. And the reason why is because it's still a part of me, but it no longer has a hold on me. It's no longer a shadow, but rather a chapter in my life I've been able to integrate and learn from. Also, it's important for us to have love and compassion for one another because we're all just living out our lives directed by our subconscious programming. We're so quick to judge others when we have no idea what someone has or is going through. I've had so many of my family members and friends judge me, saying that I'm cold or cutthroat, not knowing what I've gone through. We don't judge people that are mentally challenged, but yet when we deem someone as normal, we give ourselves permission to judge them. Now, if you've experienced any type of trauma and you're okay with revisiting it, reflect on it and see if you're able to find any patterns in your life that may have been created from that event. And if you're able to spot any, you'll have the most essential tool needed to make a change, and that's awareness. Also, I would like to know if your journey from a past trauma has been similar or totally different than mine, and how, because I've never shared this with anyone. So, not like, and to this extent, like I've given you all the details, but I'm not sure like what I went through going through this journey is similar or if it's totally different, and who knows, I might learn something from you. But when it comes to this channel, it is all about living a conscious life. And if you're about that life, subscribe to the channel and let's just not get old together. Let's grow together. Bye for now.